South Korea is sort of like the Switzerland of Asia. It's super hyper modern. Everything is just really clean. And yet it's very culturally different. It's an amazing place. Seoul was phenomenal just to go there, just to hang around Seoul for 2 or 3 days, get lost. It was really fun. It was really cool. Things start late. A lot of things, even coffee shops, may not open until 10 o'clock. By like 8 at night, things are really hopping. It's a different rhythm to the day.
We are about to take on Korea and Japan. With the language barrier and the cultural differences, none of us know what we're in for, and we're going to find out if it all works out by the time we get to Sapporo.
One of the great things about cycling here in South Korea has really been the cycling infrastructure.
Amazing infrastructure.
The bike paths are actually beyond belief. They go for hundreds of kilometers. You never see any garbage.
You know, that ride out of Seoul was just so calm, not in any way thinking you're in this city of 11 million people.
We've gone through the mountains. It's almost like karst formations and some very isolated areas. And then, of course, you spit out onto the cities, and the cities are usually kind of ratty at the outskirts, and then they get quite pristine and spectacularly modern when you get right into the middle of the city.
I think this is the most polite country I've ever been in. I feel they're respectful, and not just to us, like to each other. They're just a really gentle culture, I think. The people, to me, feel gentle.
The food has been amazing. We've had some number of typical Korean meals. They always come with kimchi and various kinds of tofu and pheasant meals, crab meals, a soup or a stew, cabbage of different sorts, and mushrooms, and little dried fish with funny things on them, and vegetables you've never heard of. It's incredible.
Such a cool experience. The kind of hands-on, being involved in the process. And of course, me and chopsticks are still a little hit and miss.
The scenery that I've really enjoyed is actually the roof lines and the architectures. Traditional architecture is very, very different, very pleasant. Seeing the agriculture, beautiful trees, amazing flowers. And what is fascinating is how quickly Korea has modernized. After the war, it really has an exponential trajectory, and it just seems to be, there's so much optimism and excitement about the future in Korea, and that's really interesting to see in person.
There's such form and such simplicity to Japan. They have such style, and the great joy of cycling through it is that you get to taste some of that. What a wonderfully polite people they are, and very kind with it.
Getting out of Nagasaki, we were remarkably quickly out of town onto a very steep road up through forest country, and thriving forest in there, lush as can be.
I was just immersed in the countryside and the climbing and the rice paddies and, all the terraced fields. I like the juxtaposition of the modern Japan and the ancient Japan. I could see all of it, and it was beautiful.
They surround themselves with serenity. The temples, the shrines, all seem to bring a sense of comfort, a sense of peace. They really do seem to take very good care of their mental health. They know how to relax and wind yourself down.
Pretty much every hotel we've gone to has a traditional Japanese bath, the onsen. As a volcanic island, there is always mineral water somewhere, and after a long, hard bike ride, it's wonderful to soak in the tub.
In Japan, the cycling has been beautiful, but pretty tough. So you're just up and down. Granted, we knew we would be in for a unique and challenging trip. And if you want to get off in the country and really see the countryside, then you're going to be on hilly routes.
A great advantage of cycling in Japan is the 7-Eleven. Everywhere you go. And there is a vending machine everywhere. I mean, up a hill in the back of Beyond, there is a vending machine plugged in, stocked. You can get a Coke, a rice string, anything, anywhere you go. And as a cyclist, this is heaven.
The foods have been different, very tasty. It's things I don't know what I'm eating, but tasty. And served elegantly. They're so polite, they're so gracious in how they serve us. And it's been different, but okay. I embrace that because I think that's part of what we're here for. If I wanted to stay in my comfort zone, then I would stay at home. And it's just been a good experience that way.
Tokyo is the biggest city in the world, so I'm led to believe. And in some ways it feels like it, and yet it doesn't seem like a big metropolis that goes on forever.
Tokyo was quite something different. And it's wonderful, and the art they had, the whole immersion experience, that was unbelievable.
It felt very soon after we left Tokyo, you were back into rural land, sparsely populated, beautiful wild country. I love all the wildflowers everywhere, amongst all the wildlife.
I think riding through wild Japan is one of the highlights for me. The forests, the lakes, the waterfalls, the possibility of wildlife, bears, monkeys, even saw a snake. And also the way the Japanese look after their environment. It's a beautiful environment and very, very unique. My love of Japan has grown as a result of this trip.
When we enter into these heavenly forests and sun filtering through the leaves, birds chirping, can anything in life be better than this? You're part of nature and it makes you feel alive.
I wasn't sure whether I could do all the elevation. You know, there's a lot of climbing involved, particularly in the Wild Japan section. Reflecting on this, I've realized that what I can do is much more than I thought I could do. You just get used to cycling what's in front of you, and you'd be surprised. I'm surprising myself on some of these longer climbs.
We've been riding next to rivers, and even if you climb up, you always look down and there's some river gushing over rocks, and to see water everywhere is just mind-blowing. And it's like almost a soul-cleansing experience, like an onsen, but just in a much deeper sense.
One of the joys of this trip has been going to the traditional hotels. In Japan, space is regarded as a luxury, and if you have space, then you're rich. So the rooms are airy and with very little furniture. So yes, you're sleeping on the floor, but it's comfy on a mat. They have a beautiful form to the way they present things.
Japan is full of shrines and temples, but they're all different, and that's what's so interesting. But they're so pretty and so well organized, just like the rest of Japan. It was such a privilege to be in a country on a bicycle, traveling day in, day out, seeing things that almost nobody else ever sees. The wild Japan that we've seen. So it's an incredible contrast between the cities where people are all packed together and the countryside where they're amazingly spread out. That's why I've come on this trip, is to see the world on a bicycle, and you still get to see something of the real Japan.